Hello, my name is Andy Pizer, and I invented the nailer to solve one of those nagging problems in the construction industry. The nailer is a drywall fastener that replaces wood blocking and awkward metal clips when installing drywall. The nailer is used for supporting interior drywall corners, whether wall to wall or wall to ceiling, and reduces the use of wood or those awkward drywall metal clips. The nailer is a small item with a big impact. The nailer gives you the competitive edge that you need in today's market. With the nailer, you can install and block out 2,000 square feet in about 3 hours. You can save up to $1,200 on 2,000 square feet whether you're using wood or metal for your studding. The nailer comes in 100% recycled plastic or galvanized steel and is hard fastened to both the drywall and the support timber. It can be used on either metal or wood framing. Installation is easy. First, identify any interior drywall corners, whether it's wall to wall or wall to ceiling. Place the nailer 16 on center on the top plate above every stud. Take another one out of your pouch, place it right above the stud, and the last one, and there you go. You've got the ceiling all done. The metal nailer can be fastened with drywall screws, or in the case of steel studs, using your standard component screw or your tech screw. In the case of the plastic, you're simply using either staples, screws, or nails, whatever's comfortable for you. The plastic nailer has a textured grid surface that prevents skating, so screws zip right into the plastic tab. The metal nailer has holes in the grid surface, and the screws are able to go right in through the drywall into the pre-tapped holes to hard fasten the drywall to the nailer. Once both surfaces are rocked, the nailer disappears and taping is easy. Take the nailer, place it on the top plate, position your screw, and that's all there is to it. And the nailer's in place. Simply take the nailer, place it on the top plate, right next to your truss, position your screw, run it in, and that's all there is to it. To minimize cracking due to truss uplift, place the nailer on the top plate above either side of the truss. Truss uplift is a costly problem that can be avoided by using the nailer. Plumbers and electricians don't have to waste time cutting through all that wood blocking you just got done putting in. The nailer dramatically saves money, time, and labor on subcontractors. Insulation fits easily and snugly without awkward cutting or stuffing. By using the nailer and replacing all of your wood blocking, you're able to put in a full friction fitting piece of insulation and eliminate all of that awkward wood. The nailer allows a snug fitting piece of insulation. No more air infiltration. You don't have to worry about corner freezing and cracking and costly callbacks. The nailer allows you to take energy efficiency to the next level. It puts you in control and your customers see the benefits. By using the nailer, I'm able to use a full friction fitting piece of insulation, and starting right at the top, I'm able to slide it right in, go all the way down to the bottom, and for a bisecting wall, there's no cutting and the job's already done. When you use the nailer and you're putting in PVC or electrical, you don't have to cut through all that wood that the framer just got done putting in. Do these plugs look familiar? How many of them do you want to cut? You don't have to cut this one right here or the one on the other side. The nailer is a green building product and helps you do your part in protecting our environment and resources. Whether you use galvanized steel or you use recycled plastic, the nailer is a green building product. Drywall prep couldn't be made easier. Now let's get down to work. Now the drywall's cut, let's put it up. When you put the nailers on the top plate, you don't have to mark it out again. You've already done that. Your studs are 16 on center. So just simply place the nailer above every stud, and that takes care of your top plate. For your wall-to-wall, when you're doing your vertical, you can lay those out 16 on center as well. If you're using 5/8 for your lid, just simply add 5/8 to your measurement, 16 and 5/8, and so on. You can create a story pole, or you can just simply go by your tape measure. The only one that you really have to measure for and be accurate is your 48 and 5/8 if you're using 8-foot ceilings. If you have 9-foot ceilings and you're using 54-inch pieces of rock, the only one you have to really measure for is 54 and 5/8 down to the seam. When fastening the nailer, you don't have to measure all of it. We all know that this is basically 16 inches. This is 32. The only one you really have to measure for is 48 and 5/8 down if you're using 5/8 for a lid. That way, both sheets will fasten to one nailer. The nailer has a 1-inch down stem. When you're ready to fasten the drywall to the nailer, even when there's 5/8 rock in place, it leaves a 3/8 reveal. You know exactly where to place that screw. The nailer has a down stem of 1 inch. Right there. Even when you place the drywall, you're able to see exactly where to place your screw. The hit surface that the drywall is fastened to is 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches square. We all know what that is. Lids first, up, up, and away. Now that we've got this lid in place, now we just screw away. That's it. The lid's up. Walls are next. Let's go. Get her up in place. Push her tight to the top. Take your screw gun. And hard fasten right to the nailer. And that's all there is to it. The seam, 2 sheets, 1 nailer. You've seen how well the nailer performs on wood framing. It performs just as good with steel framing for commercial uses. The nailer is 19 gauge galvanized steel. These studs I'm holding are 25 gauge. No matter how you gauge it, the nailer is better than a stud. If you're involved in the design build process and you pride yourself in value engineering, the nailer will save your clients money and put more profit in your pocket. This slider that I could put in to back the drywall in the corner, the nailer replaces. 5 nailers eliminates 1 slider. The slider sells for $3.65. The nailer, 5 of them that replace this slider, 85 cents. The nailer is better than a stud. By putting in a slider, you have to use 2 screws to keep it from wobbling 16 on center. The nailer, you only have to use 1 screw, and the application gives you a better result. The galvanized steel nailer was designed for steel framing as well as wood. But in this case, you can see that the down stem does not extend past the flange of the galvanized steel framing. The nailer is fastened to a steel framing component by using your standard Tex screw or your standard component screw. 1 screw, 1 nailer. The job's finished. Just like we did with wood, we're doing it with steel. The nailer, it's better than a stud.